All right, guys. So this is the programming workshop for Godot. Same version as last time, which is 4.4.1 stable. So if you did the last thing, you should be good to go. The one thing you have to do, though, is I was trying to set it up earlier. I realized, if you just get the new version of the project, it's the same name, which causes some trouble. So you just got to delete the old one. And then in the meeting links on the Discord is the new GitHub link for the. What's the same link, but it's the new version's up, so you can click on code and then download the zip, and then from that zip you can import the project again once you've deleted the old one, and that has all the stuff we're going to have tonight. So I'll give you guys like 2 minutes to get that going. And I'll just give some thumbs up if you got it set up, and this is kind of a walkthrough of some of the different nodes and structures you're going to want to kind of follow for Godot programming. And this should just be a good resource to kind of reference when you're working on your first Godot project, whether that's like a jam or just like a prototype you do on your own. And it should be a good springboard to just do some tutorials that you're curious about, and should kind of get you familiar with the feel of the editor and some different lingo and some techniques.
Also, we have a guest today. This is Faye, VGDC alum. For those of you who don't know her, she's a very good Godot programmer, and she's here to help us out.
Yeah. If any of you were here last year, I gave the Intro to Godot workshop then. I might be giving that again for the Collegiate Jam workshop. We will see. But yeah, I'll be walking around once the interactive portion starts, just making sure people know what to do.
Yeah, I guess we can go. Does anyone have any questions about the GitHub, the setup right now? We can just go ahead and, if you any issues with you have something? Oh.
Oh, I canceling? No, I'm canceling.
But yeah,
I'm canceling.
Probably the reason why we pivoted to Godot. At first, it was kind of a meme that you were really pushing it, but honestly, I think people like it. So
it's good. It's clean.
This is the one. This is the one we like to.
Also, Unity messed
teach
up.
People. Yeah, Unity messed up. That was the big thing.
More important thing.
Honestly, the most important thing is that it's more likely to run on less than average laptops,
True.
Which is what most freshmen here happen to have.
Yeah.
And if you installed a version of Unity and then took it to open, you could open Godot probably 100 times before the Unity project would open once. And that makes me very sad for Unity. I'm very happy about Godot. So if nobody has any problems setting stuff up and everybody's ready to get started,
Yep. Okay. So to start out, I'm gonna just start this game, and we'll quickly see that we have to do some stuff. So we're gonna start out here, kind of to the left of where we were last time. And you guys can still mess around with the design stuff. Sorry, we had to kind of overwrite it, but so yeah, this is the sample project programming section where we can find programming checkpoints, and we're going to kind of learn about how GDScript works by reading through all these different scripts and learning how the scripts can affect the different nodes and scenes that we're going to have in our game. So nodes, signals, scene structure, inputs, scripting language, GDScripts. So this first one we have here is just to look at a node that we have over on the left here called Read My Scripts. So we'll close out the game and just go ahead and look at that. Okay. Yeah, if the script doesn't come up, you can just click on the script symbol next to it. And before I actually go over this, I do want to just kind of explain how these things relate. So at the root of your thing is going to be a scene no matter what. The scene is just sort of what you're working with right now. It's like basically a blueprint for a bunch of nodes that go together, and it's all rooted at like a scene. So every scene is a node, and what makes a node is just it's a thing that it can do stuff. You can attach a script to it. It can have things operate on it. Some of the basic stuff is a node 2D, which is just a node that has like a position. And then, there's subclasses of that add collision and, input stuff and just different features that help you kind of make a general type of thing. But yeah, the other thing that makes a node a node aside from, having those features is just the fact that it can have any amount of children. And those children can either be a node or another scene. You can have scenes within scenes, is something we'll be seeing. And the way you want to have these interact is, like, let's say we have a level scene and that has a character scene in it. And the character does something that we want to affect the scene it's within. We can use something called a signal within that script to, call upon a method in the scene script, in the level script, that'll, affect the level. So that's something we'll be seeing throughout this.
Do you want to make the text size larger, or just like tiny?
Yeah. Okay. So up the top here, this is something that will, that's, more significant if we're doing some inheritance stuff. Like last week we talked about these falling blocks. Let's see, where are they? Oh yeah, those are in the tile map, so we can't really look at them. But the idea is that, if you want to kind of make a version of a different scene, you can inherit from that scene. And the way you do that is, when you want to make a scene, you can go up here. You can just make a new scene, or you could do a new inherited scene. So like, let's say we wanted to make a variant of our character, we could create that, and it would just be the same thing, but we can tweak it, and it'll kind of inherit from the script and all the, structure that already had. And then, the script for that, if you give it its own unique script, it'll extend the script of the thing it's inheriting from. So next, we can define a class name. You don't have to do this, but it is very helpful if we want to reference, like, different elements of the script. If you've done any other programming languages, this is how you kind of will do that same thing. But these are going to be your bread and butter down here is the variables. And now we can just be very simple here, and we can do, we can have a variable named a that stores like a integer value of 5, or we can store, a script here, the text hello, and it'll kind of assume the type, but there's a bit of a performance overhead that we kind of want to avoid. So what we can do is we can make it a typed variable by using a semicolon here and then putting, the name of the type. Or we can even just kind of infer the type from like what we put to the right of the equal sign. Like, this is obviously a string because it's, it's text between these quotation marks. So, this inferred type object is, knows it's a string just because of the content to the right. And you can also use, arrays. You can define dictionaries, and, there's a few different ways to do that. Constants are good if you have like certain values you just want to reference offhand without having to, kind of explain it in documentation. That's kind of a smart trick. Enumerations, these are really helpful for, if your character has different states like attacking or running or whatever, you can kind of maintain, one at a time for that sort of thing. And, you can store, if you name the variable, you can store that, like an instance of that variable, the enumeration here. And a really good thing to read up on, these are just some of them, is the built-in kind of constructors for, different structures that you're going to use a lot. Like something super common is, these vectors, if you're doing any physics or just, if you're just kind of wanting to store X, Y, and Z. Yeah?
But Ian, if I wanted to read the documentation for these, where would I be able to find it?
Well, you can look up.
Don't even. You do the control flip version.
Oh, that's true. See, this is the real trick.
Yeah,
control
that's the real
click.
trick.
Yeah. See, I need to make a habit of doing that because I know it's there, but that's not how I do it. But it's a good point. Yeah, you can control click. It's all here. It's all. So yeah, like a vector two. This is a two-dimensional vector. It's got x and y, and you can go here. It's got the constructors, so you can decide how you want to set it up. These different really helpful methods to use. It's all here. So definitely, before you make anything by yourself, definitely make sure it's not already built in. But yeah, so you got X, Y, X, Y, Z. Another important thing is when you're using those typed variables, you can make a variable actually just the type of a scene or a node. So like like I was saying earlier, a node 2D, that's a very common one. So if we want to reference that in code, we can have a variable representing that. And there's also resources, pack scenes. A lot of the stuff you're going to work with can be just stored as a variable. So definitely, if you ever need to use that, that's a good way to do it. A really practical thing, especially when you're kind of iterating on is it update. Remind me tomorrow.
Right now. Let's update it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the export feature, and this is really helpful. You can see on the right everything we have under this category, which you don't have to use categories, but it's pretty helpful. Everything's going to be mirrored over here. So these don't have any value set here, but we can kind of control what is there when we start up the game by modifying this over here. So, we have a Boolean, so it can be, on or off, true or false. The integer, thankfully the UI is very, it'll listen to whatever type is set for the export variable. So, you can have an integer, you can have you can even establish like a range using export range, and you can, have that be a float or a integer. You can type in text. You can use this to, shoot, I didn't want to do that. You can, I don't even know what I'm doing. So you can put scenes in there. You can, anything you export, there's a really handy little UI thing to update that for whenever you start the game. So this is the _ready function, which is one of the most important built-in functions of Godot. And all this really does is when we start the game up, as soon as the scene that the script is attached to enters the scene tree, it'll run whatever code is inside that function. And in this case, it's running this function down here, which just sort of goes over like local variables. This is how you do like an if statement. You're going to use these all the time. Else if, it's a little confusing, but it's ELIF. And this is an important time to mention. Use tab to kind of control the what is underneath what in your code. You don't use brackets like you would use in a lot of language. I think it's considered Pythonic.
Yeah.
That's what this kind of setup is called. So a lot of colons and a lot of tabs, which I think it's a little bit easier, but it's definitely, you got to adjust to it if you're not used to that. But yeah, we're just having print statements here. You'll see when I run it, you'll see all the text down here. We have a for loop. So, this is the syntax for that. While loop. We have the match statement, which is similar to a switch statement, if you're familiar with that. Which is good if you have a lot of things you want to check. It's
What's that underscore for?
So the underscore is the equivalent of the default statement.
Oh, cool. What's that mean?
So the default statement, so like let's say we have something that we put into this match statement that's not a 3. It'll default to this.
Oh, okay, thanks. Nobody's asking anything. Someone's gonna say something.
You're asking good questions because I'm forgetting stuff.
People, they need answers.
Is Y up or Z up in Godot?
Huh?
Is Y up or Z up?
It's Y up, but actually down. So a positive Y value is downward. That's
in
not
2D it's down, but in 3D.
in 3D it's okay. That shows what I know about 3D. Yeah, we're not covering 3D, guys. We're doing 2D, but a lot of it transfers.
So it's like X goes this way, Y goes that way. But in 3D, they just do it like Minecraft.
Was it in Unity? It's,
Do you do the art feature?
huh?
The art feature? Or like how do you input for artwork?
Oh, that's next week.
Okay.
But good time to mention though. Yeah, you have this handy file structure down here, so it's good to keep it organized. You can keep your scenes and scripts separated. It's easy to forget that because of how it kind of by default will put it in the same hierarchy as the scene. But There's probably a way to configure that, but yeah, you can definitely take advantage of this to organize everything. But yeah, then we have, you know, an example of a local variable. Here's an example of how you can do random numbers. So we have like a random range here. And then here's the return. And you know, not everything has to return something, but you don't have to specify that. But you can put like a type here. So I could put like so yeah, you can specify the return type.
It's the
That's
arrow.
not how you do with the function.
It's got to do the arrow.
Shit.
before the thing.
Sorry.
It's before the colon.
Before the
Yeah,
colon.
That's pretty sure before the colon.
Okay.
It's
been a while since I've done that, 'cause yeah. But yeah, and this is how you do an internal class if you ever need to do that, and you can you know create an instance of that and then you know reference its variables. But yeah, this is just kind of the overview of the syntax. This is a good reference for like when you're just getting used to it. And then yeah, that was our first programming checkpoint. Any questions so far? Okay.
Everyone is following every single word he said. No one is confused about anything at all. All right, I buy it.
Okay, so we're at the programming checkpoint 2. And this one's going to teach us about the inspector, and it's going to give us our first example of signals, which is with the area 2D node. Okay, so we have these teleporters. We already went through one of them. But you'll see here, this is, in the scene tree, this is teleporter 3, which is just kind of the default name it was given because it was the third one in its... but yeah, so this one has some problems. It's not working. You know, we can use the other one, go back, those work. And the two problems it has is it is, not only is it the collision not working, but it's also, once we fix the collision, we're going to see it's not even pointing the right place. We want to go there on the right here, over here. So this is kind of introduce us to collision layers, which are very important. And although Area 2D has kind of a different relationship with collision, as we'll see. So the character is being detected when it enters that area because it is so yeah, if you press Control-Shift-O, you can open other scenes in the editor. So yeah, under the so under here, under collision on the platform character, we can see the layers it's on and the layers it's masking. Right now, for this project, we're using layer 1 and mask 1 for just like terrain collision. And right now we've set aside 2 as one that the character is going to be on exclusively. And the reason for that is these teleporters, if we go into their collision, the mask for that is looking at 2. So the mask, what that refers to is just what, like, especially for Area 2Ds, it's what it's looking at. You know, if we had put this on like collision layer 1, you know, that would mean, you know, if something that's scanning 1 would recognize that area 2D when it enters another area 2D. But as we can see, you know, a lot of these ones are scanning for 2 on its mask, but this one is mistakenly going to 3, which we're not using anything for right now. Yes?
Can you call that something other than layer 3, or is it stuck like that?
Yeah, if you go into project settings, there's a lot of really helpful stuff there, as we'll get into
How
later.
do they do it? You can right-click on a layer to change it right there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we can just call this like player, and that's a good tip. Yeah, it's another task you guys can do. Definitely make it easier for yourself. Yeah, we'll go ahead and rename our terrain. So yeah, now that we've corrected this to mask 2, we can go back in the game, and you know it saves when it starts up the game. And okay, now we can see it's teleporting us, but it's teleporting us to the wrong place. And if we go into the script for the teleporter, we can kind of figure out how it works and figure out why it might be doing that. So yeah, we'll click on the script that's attached to the top of the scene. And as we can see, there is an export variable for the target location, which we're storing as a vector2 because it's just an X and Y. And right now we have this script here called onBodyEntered. But as you can see, there's no functions that are going to call that, on ready or anything like that. So the reason why this works is because we have created this using, if you go on the right, so we have the inspector on the right, on this right panel, but the other tab is node. And it has all these handy built-in methods we can create using signals. And the one we've selected is body entered. And if you like click on, like let's say we want something for body exited, you double click on that, it'll bring up a thing for you to create that method in this script or whatever script is in the scene tree. But yeah, as soon as you do that, it'll be hooked up, so whenever the relevant event happens, it'll call on the method. But right now, yep.
What's the difference between a body and an area?
So a body and an area, so like I was saying earlier, the area is not tangible. It doesn't have collision in terms of physics, but it does have collision in terms of it knows when something has, passed through it. Whereas, body is something that has that collision and it has physics. So it can, that's your character and the terrain and all those, things you're colliding with. So yeah, on body entered, that means a body has entered the area. And all we're going to do with that body is we're going to, so every, node 2D has global position. We can just modify that to, it's a vector2, and we can change that to the target that we have set here. But yeah, so the problem is that this particular instance of the teleporter has the wrong position set. And thankfully, we left a little tip here on where it should go. And we will, because we exported it, we have the two fields to enter here, and we only have to modify one of them. So we change that. And then once we go back down, we can kind of get through this room now. Okay, so yeah, and this one takes us back, so that one's right. All right, so up ahead we have a really long hallway, and to deal with that, we're going to want to go faster. So we have a within the character script, we have a lot of let's see, we'll open this, and then so there's a lot of handy stuff. We can we could easily just modify the basic speed variable, and definitely look over this because this is a good example of a lot of control stuff you want to implement if you want to have a really nice platformer character. You're free to reuse some of this code. This is like a club resource you guys can use. But yeah, we have a speed that's just the regular moving speed, and then we have our run speed. And if we scroll down, we're using some input class stuff, which is referencing our project settings for how we have the input set up. And we can see here there's some code referencing a run input. But if we go into our project settings up here under the projects button on the header, and we go to the input map tab, we can see that all these different inputs that we've named, like the left input to move left, right to go right, all that stuff, all of those have been mapped to a button on the keyboard or on a controller, except for the run feature. So if we go into the game right now, there's not going to be a way for us to run. But what we can do is we can click on this plus right next to run, and there's a few different ways we can kind of select what we want. There's some drop downs here for you want to look through all your options. You can even search it up, so we could type in, let's say we'll map it to shift. You could do it that way, or you could even just click in this search bar up here and just simply press the input. It says listening for input, and it'll bring it up for us. So it's selected, and we can click OK, and then shift is mapped. So yeah, we can see. So the character body 2D that we're working with, the idea of that is it's just like a physics collision body that has a lot of helpful stuff built in for I want to, know if the character's on the ground or not, just stuff you'd want to know when deciding how you want to make them move around and jump. But yeah, if you want to give something input to move it around, this is probably the node you're going to want to use. But yeah, this is already coded. You guys can look at it later, but if we restart it now, we should have, yep, you can see immediately if we hold Shift, we can move around a lot faster without and then with. So, and all those inputs, you know, there's just methods you can call on, like to tell if it's just been pressed or if it's been released or if it's being held. For like left and right movement, for things like the triggers on like an analog trigger controller or the stick, you know, there's these axes you can work with to determine like how far something has been held or how far a stick is being pressed in a given direction. But this is just like kind of a simple binary, you know, is it being pressed or released or, you know. So we're going to go across this, see, did I get everything? Yeah. So we're going to go to the right to our next checkpoint. But as you can see, we're going to hit a dead end. As you can see, the camera will not follow us anymore. And that is because there's something with the camera 2D we're going to have to look at. So the camera 2D is a very common node you're going to want to use. Mainly if you're making a game where the camera's going to move. You know, if not, you might be able to make a game without it. I've had a couple like that. But so yeah, the camera 2D has a lot of really good features. We have like drag. If you want to kind of, you can see in this game there's a little bit of drag that allows like the character to move a bit before the camera starts following them. I think there's similar stuff in a lot of Mario games. It just kind of, it's kind of a good feel thing. You don't want the camera to be too fidgety, you know. You want it to look nice. Yes?
Can you change this, is it the size of the camera, so like how many blocks it can do?
Yeah, that a lot of that goes into project settings that we're not going to get too much into, but you can, in the general settings, there's a lot of different stuff, but with regard to that, you can go into window and you can decide the viewport width and all that, and you can, you know, customize how it's going to render on your screen, you know, if it's going to be full screen or not. But yeah, the camera relies somewhat on that. But the bit we're going to be talking about right now is camera limits, which this is just an example of kind of each node you're going to work with. There's a lot of great stuff in the inspector to look at. And this is a really helpful thing for if you want to make a platformer. Let's say there's something you want to hide. You can modify these. Like I already have, this is something I'm going to keep just because it's kind of a nice thing visually. Up the top, there's a limit set at the, so yeah, this is like a Y value that it's, so at Y0, the camera is going to be stopped on the top. But as you can see on the right, we already have a value set there, and it happens to be right where we got stopped. And we can just use this handy button to reset it right here, this kind of circular arrow. And it, you know, just sets it at kind of an arbitrarily high number. And if we go back and speed run our way back there, we will see that the camera is no longer getting stuck there. Okay, this is the bit where we're going to kind of explain this whole chunk on the left and how this works. You'll probably notice that the camera is attached to the player and they're moving with the player. But let's say we want to, you know, this is just a silly example, but let's say we want to give them a hat. Now, you know, realistically, you're going to learn next week, you know, if you want, you can just draw the hat and import the sprite, you know, for that. But let's just say we want to do it a silly way. We can kind of follow the same principle as the camera and make this sprite 2D, which we're just calling hat in the hierarchy. We can bring that over to kind of where the character starts out, and we can make that a child of that node by dragging it onto it. You'll see the square, the blue square around it, and now it is attached to it. So, and what this means is its position is now relative to it. Is he a hand? No. Yeah, it's now relative to the character. We can change its global position, but for now, its global position is sort of being affected by whatever the global position of its parent node is, which is happens to be our character. Okay, for this last bit, we're going to get into signals and how we can use code to while the game is running, create scenes within our scene tree. So right now we have this button. This is an Area 2D that just sort of uses the enter and exit. I might as well open it. So yeah, this is just using. Yeah, it's good to get. And this kind of carries over between sessions. Your scripts being open in the script view. But yeah, we have on-bodied entered and odd-body exited hooked up. This is, I should have gone over this earlier actually. This is probably the most common thing you're going to be working under, or at least to some degree, is the process function. And what this does, you can see deltas in there. What this means is, this is a thing that is called every frame. Now, if you use like a specialty ones like underscore physics underscore process, there's like a fixed frame rate thing there. I think it defaults to 60. And that is the one I'm using for the character, just because I found that usually works better. But just for the sake of this simple one, we can go back and we can just use the regular process for that. But if you have something that you want to kind of scale with the frame rate, delta is going to be your friend. Like you don't want it to you don't want the frame rate to dip and then things are not moving right at all. So you're going to multiply it by delta. Like I'll go over an example there real quick. Like shoot. So an important built-in method we're actually using for the character body 2D already covers this for us. It already kind of multiplies it by delta, called move and slide. And what move and slide does is, once you've stored a velocity for the node, it'll apply that on that frame. Yes?
Do you have to make your own velocity variable?
No, it's built into a lot of the nodes you're going to be working with.
Oh,
So
wait, so not only can I make my own one, but I should not do that.
you should not do that.
I should use the one that is there already.
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't make your own.
Yeah, don't make your
It's
own.
really confusing.
Look, you can make your own thing if somehow you think you find a better way to do it, but a lot of the stuff, this is a game engine, y'all. It does a lot of the work for you. So yeah, if we go back to the button, fairly straightforward. Every frame, it's checking if this variable that gets updated by the signal is true, and it also checks for a input that we've already mapped, which is just pressing E. And what this does is it emits a signal. Now this isn't like a built-in signal. This is one that we created. And if we go into if a script is not attached, so you can have scripts that aren't attached to nodes. Worth noting that. And the very common use case for that is global scripts. And the way you set up that is you go into project settings, and under globals, you're able to go into path right here, and you can make up globals 2, and then, or I think you put it in this one. Yeah. So if we wanted, we could make a second global script, but not really too much reason to do that. But you can do that if you want. But that's how we created globals.gd. And all globals.gd is doing for us right now, and this is just sort of a handy pattern to use signals for, is you just put the signal in a global thing that can be referenced by all your other scripts. And last time we used the fall blocks script to kind of show off the differences between those falling blocks that we were testing out. And all that did was just, the character was reading an input that, used a signal to make those all fall down. But this is one called create block. And the issue with our button, the reason why it's not doing anything right now is related to where that script is, where that signal is being used. So we can go into this block, the T block, this scene. Like I said, Control Shift O is how you access all your different scenes and get them in the inspector or in the editor. So yeah, this is the thing we're trying to get added to the game. And the best way, like this is a pattern I use a lot for projectiles, is if I want the projectile to be added to the scene I'm in, what I usually use is the script attached to like the root node of the level. And I go there, and what you can do is whatever projectile you're using, and this is a good case for inheritance. You know, you want to inherit from a basic level that has all this taken care of. But yeah, that you can have a variable stored that's a packed scene. You can use preload to, you put the path name for that scene in there. You preload.
Oh, wait. If I wanted to get that path name, but I don't want to type the whole thing out, is there some cool, easy shorthand I could use?
Oh, yeah, there is.
Oh,
So
that's so awesome.
let's say I throw this away. Let's say speed run. I do want to get it in there, so I can just click on down here in the file system, drag it up there. It's there. And you know what? The same principle applies to all the stuff in the scene tree, where like let's say I wanted to do something to the hat, I could just drag it there, and it's going to give us the path for that node. But yeah, we've got the pack scene here. We preloaded it, and we have this method here that's not being called. That all it does is it, instantiates that. It stores it. It's going to add that instance of the T block to the scene, and then it's going to set its global position to wherever our mouse is. Now, on ready, what we've done is we've referenced the signal we were talking about, the global signal, and we've connected it to a method. We did the wrong one. This is one that does nothing. All we want to do is we want to replace that, and we got just the name of it. You don't have to put the extra stuff there. And okay, and if we go back, we press E, or if you mapped it, you could map like a X button on an Xbox controller or whatever. So now, yeah, we got this.
Oh, yeah, have you gone over input map at all?
Yeah, input.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's in the project settings under the input map.
It's just one that people are likely to visit on their first
Oh, yeah.
project in Godot. We should probably peek at it.
Yeah, I brought it up earlier, but yeah, I'll just.
Yeah. If you did, then you're good.
But yeah, you can see like it's, yeah, again, you can map all kinds of stuff. I mean, but the way it's referenced in the script is important too. Like if you want to, specifically look at when like the space bar is released, there's a method for that under the input class. But yeah, so for our final little bit here to get to the end, all we got to do is move that button over here so we can kind of build a path up to the final checkpoint. So we'll run back there. And, worth noting, I just dragged that over there. That did modify some stuff that you can look at in the inspector. If you want to be more precise with like positions and stuff, you can update that in the inspector for that node, and it'll update visually too. So yeah, we're gonna kind of build a path up here. Actually, I didn't play test this, so I don't think it'll actually work. But opportunity to show how you can add another one. So you can either do it the long way. You could go to inherited scene and then put another button up there, or you could be big brain, and you could click on it. You do Control C, like with like text in like a document. Control V.
Ooh, well, I'll do one better, Ian. If you do Control D, it'll duplicate the thing you're holding currently.
Ooh, that's hold on. Let me try that. Oh, okay, yeah. See, now we got three. Okay.
There's 2 keystrokes you just saved from your list.
Okay, so now we got a little section here we can do. So you're teaching me stuff too. Honestly, we should have.
I told you to ping me.
Oh, okay. Well, we're here.
Right.
Okay.
This is an engine that kind of really thrives on its hotkeys and its ability
yeah.
to kind of do things fast. And the more you learn, the more you'll actually like remember. But just the reason I'm throwing all of like the super helpful ones out there is because this engine's real strength is its ability to prototype things fast and to just
Big
get
time.
something working quickly. And the more that you can know how to kind of keep it between your fingers, the better. So I'm just throwing out all the little life hacks whenever I see them fit.
All right, so yeah, like I've said, we're kind of at the end here of this part of the workshop. And this workshop is kind of more just like get a feel for the terminology, get a feel for like going through, some different processes you're going to be doing all the time. And I'd say the next step is definitely, control click on some of those built-in things we went over. Do some. If you want to like do a specific kind of game, like if you want to do a top-down game or like a Metroidvania or just anything specific or 3D even, there's tons of great tutorials, and we're gonna put some of those up on the website over the semester as we find them. Yeah.
But
You look at you say.
you know me.
Okay. And then, yeah, just making your own prototypes, because honestly, like I found, following along something's pretty good, but you're going to learn a lot more just by trying to do something yourself and then looking up, how do I do this? Or,
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid of looking stuff up. There
that's the whole
are
point.
like an abundance of 3 to 5 minute tutorials of individual node types and like what to do, where to start. Like it's very much, you're not expected to just know it, so don't be afraid to just watch a video and then take their version and then tweak the 2 things that you need to make it work for what you need to do, because that's 100% how you start.
I learned Godot by just reading the docs and Googling everything.
Yeah, and
yeah.
John's got the most popular game on the arcade cabinet, building Godot, so trust what he says.
Yeah.
They also have a lot of just free things in the Godot asset library that you can look at.
Yeah.
Some of the most common ones are a 2D platformer. You can just, it's actually up in the top right there in an asset lib. To the right of game.
Yeah, we didn't visit asset library.
Yeah, at the top.
See, this
Oh,
is something
yeah.
I've not done.
Yeah, this is something I don't really use just because I like to make my own stuff. But, oh, yeah, we got to go online.
This can be a good
See.
way to get started with stuff. At least taking
Yeah.
a look at some existing projects, seeing how they're structured.
Yeah, I think last time we did this workshop, we used like a
It was one of the built-in platforms.
yeah. Which does, yeah, if you're looking for, yeah, like a platformer that has like enemies or stuff, there's ones with
Yeah.
that.
You can fiddle around with it. A lot of it, if it's like MIT licensed, is free, and you can even use that stuff directly if you want to. Although it's usually good for just reference on learning kind of how things are connected and set up. But they're pretty good examples.
Yeah, and I don't know if we said last time, but Godot's kind of a non-profit. I think they accept donations, but they're not going to take
Yeah.
your money if you publish the game. It's not like Unity. They're not going to take a cut.
They're not evil.
They're not evil.
Yes.
They're not evil, but they're also like
I have faith.
they're also kind of like not like a fixed group. Like I feel like there's a lot. It's kind of a loose structure. From what I understand, like there's not.
It's open source.
It's open source,
all
it's-
that kind of stuff.
And if you really get into Godot, you can even if there's something you really want Godot to add, you can kind of go through the. Was that?
I want multi-pass canvas shaders to exist in
Oh yeah, yeah.
It makes me sad.
Worth noting, there's whole bits of we're not getting into yet. Some of it's because it's art. Some of it, yeah, it's like advanced stuff like shaders or UI nodes and all that. Some of that stuff I'm not too good with yet because I've only been doing Godot for like a year or so. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Faye, you got one more thing to say?
How did you put the text in the levels?
Oh yeah. So yeah, this is really helpful if you're just being lazy like me and you want to just have some text in the game. You click. You just click plus, and then if you look up label, and it's a green node because it's a control node, and those are just kind of rendered different. They're not like, I think it's not the camera seeing it, but it's like kind of part of the viewport.
Their UI stuff.
Yeah, it's UI stuff, so it's kind of more related to the viewport than like the camera of the
But
game.
like, Ian, what's the label versus the rich text label? Which one do I need and why?
Oh, I don't know. I'm using
Oh, I
the
got this one.
yes.
So label is basically, it's a very simple bar of text.
Yeah.
It has a font, it has a color. Rich text label has the ability to have more stuff in it, and it kind of uses like the HTML angle brackets, start open thing, close thing. So if you want like one word colored, like if you know the Mario Galaxy text, everything that's important lights up red. Or
Yeah, and then you have the little Bowser head next to it.
like if you wanted stuff like that,
Yeah.
it is more complicated. You want a rich text label. But if you just want text in the level and you don't want
Yeah.
to think about it that much, label.
Yeah, like that's all I did. So I clicked label, and then we have a label in the scene. I don't know where the hell it went though. It's okay. It's near the button because it's if you'll notice, I think we had button selected. If you just want to, if you want to instantly add a child to something, yeah, like when you have it highlighted over here, you press the plus, or you know, if you want to have a scene underneath it, you know, you do that. But we could easily just kind of take it off and then drag it over. And then, you know, that's something, you can modify it with code. You know, any of the stuff over here can be updated with code because it's just like it's a variable that's built in. But yeah, we can just type in some text. And, you know, like you said, if you really want to do like special stuff with the text, you're better off just going to the rich text label.
One example I did like that used the rich text label was like we had a thing that like slowly scrolled the text along as you press next box and it'd go to the next. You guys have played video games before, and rich text label made that a lot easier because it would actually like update every single time you changed it. And it's nice.
It is very
Faye
nice.
thought, what was that?
Ian, I noticed that a lot of this text is just kind of sitting there in the world. But if you wanted UI like a health bar or something, how would you do that? Just put it on the screen instead of like in the world.
For that, I would say look into control nodes, which I need to do more of myself. But you can have all that UI follow your little camera. You know, we could do it a very simple way right now, and
Yeah.
you know, attach
And
that to
that's
the.
what you said that thing. You just gotta look at the camera, right?
Either that or using a canvas layer.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
canvas layers.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, canvas layers are because what the idea of the canvas layer is you can kind of, but that's what the anchors, right? You
Yeah,
can anchor it
so-
to the corners and you can kind of change how.
Canvas layer is a separate thing that is rendered on top of the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And right now, if you put anything in the world, it will just stick there right at that position.
Yep.
If you want something to just be rendered on your screen itself, you use a canvas layer. So if you were to add that as a child just to the scene wherever, and then add a label to that, it would just always be at that position on your screen, rather than in the world.
Yeah. So
You could add a label there.
yeah, I almost had a UI thing, but time was getting a little tight. But yeah, like let's say, and you could attach a script to a label to make it like do something, or you could modify it with like the script for the, like I could reference like this label. This is the wrong script. Platforming level. Oh yeah, there's not a process. But yeah, let's say like every frame I want it to. So yeah, let's say we want to like, and we'll just like if you double click on a thing like if you want to rename it, which I would recommend, you know, double click on that. We could I don't know, do we could do FPS counter, which is a little tricky. That's you got to use some kind of built-in stuff. I think it's I want to say it's OS, or I need to do. What does it get? Well, I don't know. The mouse is something we're using, so we could do get global mouse position. Oh yeah, it's getting mad at us because we got to have a delta in there, just to kind of, just for formality's sake. If you put so whether you put an underscore or not, like it'll put something in the debugger kind of yelling at you if you're not using the delta and it has like it's just there. So what you do to get rid of that is you just put an underscore in front of it. But yeah, if we go back to the view, we can kind of figure out where that. Let's see, where is it? Is it right here?
Are you planning to just cut them loose for the rest of the time?
Yeah,
Probably
yeah. I don't even know what I'm doing with this, so for the next stage of this, we'll do maybe, we got like, we'll do like 30, 40 minutes left, and now we're just gonna kind of let you guys mess around. We're gonna be going around kind of helping out, some ideas for what you could do. I don't know, you need to figure out which markers are which. Just throw out the ones that are bad. You could, mess around with input if you're interested in the input stuff. Look at that for a bit. You could, try your hand at doing it like a double jump. You could kind of mess around with signals. You could do, I don't know, like make an area 2D. You can make an area 2D that like, I don't know, area 2D that makes you invisible when you're inside of it, sure. Any other ideas? Yeah?
Ooh, what if I want to make my guy like shoot stuff?
Yeah, you could imitate what we were doing with that with the signals and the global signals and all that. You could pack scenes, all that. You could instead of just making like a static body 2D, which was just what those platforms were, you could have a character body 2D that has like a certain velocity applied to it.
Come on, you guys are awake. Come on with some ideas. Anthony, what do you got? Health bar.
Yeah,
cool.
that's UI. We went over that. At the end.
Progress bar. No, look it up. It's great.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of really progress bar is a great one because you can even customize how it looks, but the default look is pretty helpful too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
ledge
great.
grab.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. Ledge grab could be cool. I think for that, there might be a few ways to do it. For that one, you might want to kind of figure.
Do like a ray cast on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, raycast on the head, and then
To check if you can.
and then you could probably you might be able to reference like the tile map or something. Yeah.
If you're doing that, I would avoid calling move and slide on that frame, and then just like manually replace you on the ledge. Just if for the half-hour implementation you have, but like if you're doing it one way, you can animate it.
Yeah, you could get started on that and kind of
Yeah, just like
I would say like arrow like softline mentioned like please use your for like a
yeah, just general design of this level. If your player finds himself
yeah, that's true.
screwed or with nothing else to do, just make ways to prevent that from happening. It's all that stuff for fun. Yeah, come up with something fun that you think is accomplishable or not within a half hour, and then try it.
Yeah, and
then
if you guys,
fail, no one will be mad at you, and we're gonna help you anyways.
Yeah.
Just try it. It's fun.
but yeah, we're we're here till 9:15, so like in like 30 minutes or so, if you have anything done you want to show, or if you've just made any progress, we can show it off if you want to share.
Bye, chat.